Imagine you're walking through the hot deserts of North America. Suddenly, you see a tiny lizard sitting completely still. It doesn't run. It doesn't attack. It doesn't even look dangerous. But then, predator gets too close, and something absolutely unbelievable happens. The lizard suddenly shoots a stream of blood directly from its eyes. Yes, blood from its eyes. Sounds like a scene from a horror movie. But this creature is real. And what's even more incredible, the blood isn't coming out because the lizard is injured. It's actually using its own blood as a weapon. This is the Texas horned lizard. And its bizarre defense mechanism is one of the strangest survival strategies in the animal kingdom. Welcome to Hidden Earth. Today, we're going to discover the incredible story of the lizard that can literally turn its eyes into weapons. Deep in the dry landscapes of Texas and parts of the southern United States, a strange little creature spends its days trying to survive. The Texas horned lizard. At first glance, it doesn't look particularly powerful. It's small, it's slow, and compared to many predators, it seems almost completely defenseless. But nature gave this lizard something very unusual. Its body is covered with sharp horns. These horns make it difficult for predators to swallow. Its rough, flattened body helps it blend into the ground. And when it senses danger, it has several tricks hidden in its biological arsenal. Can freeze completely still, can run in short bursts, it can inflate its body to make itself harder to swallow. And in some situations, it can even spray blood from the corners of its eyes. But why? Why would an animal evolve such an unbelievable defense? To understand that, we need to look at its greatest enemies. One of the most dangerous predators of the Texas horned lizard is the common canine. Animals such as coyotes and domestic dogs can pose a threat. But there's another predator that makes the lizard's special defense especially fascinating. The coachwhip snake. And this is where the story gets strange. When a predator approaches, the lizard may first try to remain perfectly still. Its camouflage can make it almost disappear against the desert ground. But if the predator gets too close, the lizard may puff up its body. Its horns become more intimidating. And if the threat continues, the lizard has one final trick. It can increase pressure in the blood vessels around its eyes. The pressure builds and builds until tiny blood vessels rupture. Then, a stream of blood shoots out from near its eyes. It's one of the most bizarre defense mechanisms found in nature. But here's the question. Why would blood scare a predator? To understand this strange behavior, we have to talk about the predator's sense of smell. When the Texas horned lizard sprays blood at certain predators, the smell and taste of the blood may act as a powerful deterrent. Researchers have found that some canine predators find the blood unpleasant. In other words, the lizard isn't trying to kill its attacker. It's trying to make the predator think, maybe I should eat something else. And that's an important difference. The blood is not a poison. It's not venom. And the lizard isn't attacking. It's using psychology. The predator sees a strange-looking lizard. The lizard suddenly shoots blood. And the predator may decide, this meal isn't worth the trouble. It's an extraordinary example of evolution. The lizard doesn't need to be stronger than its predator. It simply needs to be too unpleasant to eat. But there's something even more incredible. The lizard doesn't always use this weapon. It saves it for situations when it really needs it. Because producing and losing blood comes with a cost. So how exactly does a lizard shoot blood from its eyes? The answer lies in its unique anatomy. Around the eyes of the Texas horned lizard, there are specialized blood vessels. When the lizard is under extreme threat, it can increase pressure inside these vessels. Eventually, the pressure becomes so high that the vessels rupture. The blood then escapes through the thin tissue near the eyes, and it can be projected outward, sometimes reaching the predator nearby. The result is shocking. A small lizard, suddenly becomes a creature that appears to be bleeding from its eyes. For a predator, this unexpected reaction could be enough to make it hesitate. And in the wild, even a few seconds of hesitation can mean the difference between life and death. The lizard doesn't need to win a fight. It only needs to survive. And survival is exactly what evolution is all about. But blood isn't the only weapon this creature has. The Texas horned lizard is also a master of camouflage. Its colors often match the desert environment. Brown, gray, tan, and sometimes reddish shades. When it stays completely still, can be incredibly difficult to spot. Imagine being a predator searching for food. You look across the desert. Nothing. You take another step. Still nothing. But just a few feet away, a horned lizard is sitting completely motionless. Waiting. Watching. Hoping the predator passes by. This strategy is extremely important because the lizard is not built for long-distance running. It doesn't have the speed of a cheetah. Can't fly away. Can't climb a tree and escape. Instead, it relies on deception. It hides. It freezes. It makes itself look dangerous. And if all else fails, it uses its most terrifying trick. The blood. Now look closely at this animal. This entire body looks like armor. And those horns aren't just there to make it look strange. They have an important purpose. The horns can make it difficult for predators to swallow the lizard. Imagine trying to swallow something covered in sharp spikes. Not exactly an easy meal. The horns also make the lizard appear larger and more dangerous than it really is. It's another example of a simple idea in nature. Sometimes, looking dangerous is almost as useful as actually being dangerous. And this little lizard has mastered that strategy. But there is another strange question. If this creature is so well adapted to its environment, why are populations of horned lizards declining in some areas? The Texas horned lizard has faced increasing challenges in parts of its natural range. Changes to habitat, loss of native grasslands, roads and development, and changes in the ecosystem can all make survival more difficult. Another major concern is the decline of one of its favorite foods, harvester ants. These ants are an important part of the horned lizard's diet, so when the environment changes, the lizard can be affected too. This is a reminder that even the strangest survival adaptations can't always protect an animal from changes happening around it. The lizard can shoot blood. It can camouflage itself. It has horns, can inflate its body. But sometimes, the greatest threat isn't a predator. It's a changing world. The Texas horned lizard may look like a tiny creature from a prehistoric world, but hidden inside that small body is an incredible survival machine, can disappear into the desert, can transform its body into armor, can make itself difficult to swallow, and when everything else fails, can shoot blood from its eyes. It's strange, it's terrifying, and it's completely real. Nature is full of creatures that seem impossible, but perhaps the most fascinating thing about the Texas horned lizard is that none of these abilities were created overnight. Over millions of years, evolution shaped this animal into a survivor that doesn't need to be the biggest. It doesn't need to be the fastest. It just needs one chance to escape. And maybe that's the greatest lesson hidden inside this strange little lizard. In the wild, survival doesn't always belong to the strongest. Sometimes, it belongs to the most unusual. This is Hidden Earth. And if you think this creature is strange, just wait until you discover what else is hiding on our planet. Subscribe, because the Earth is full of mysteries, and we've only just begun to uncover them.